Hello, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I think we've only got a small handful of people at the moment. Just maybe we might wait a few more minutes. I might turn the music down actually a little bit. It's a little bit loud, but yeah, wait a few more minutes for some more people to filter in. I'm going to be going through the replays from the Mayhem Addicts event. Some of these replays from about a week or so ago, some are from during the week. I wasn't able to cast them live as I wasn't available. And I've been a bit busy since. This evening I've got some time to go through the games. So this event is quite similar in some ways to the Battle Royale tournament that happened all the way back in sort of June, July time, 2023. So about, how long ago is that now? About a year and 4 or 5 months ago now. So it's 2v2, random map, random civ. Slight difference in this tournament though is the teams are, I think they're picked based on the seeding of the players, so that the players that enter were seeded, and then like I think it's 8 players, so first and 8th were put together, 2nd and 7th, and then so on, as opposed to Battle Royale where everyone joined as their own teams. So it's a little bit chaotic. Well, yeah, mayhem I guess is the word that we've used for the tournament. I guess I'll turn off the starting soon part of the stream, as we have more or less officially started now. But yeah, so we were going to have 2 divisions for this tournament, but unfortunately the lower division, one of the players couldn't play, and a few of the other players were a bit busy, and we decided in the end that it was going to take quite a long time for the tournament to actually be able to be played out. So unfortunately we did cancel that in the end, because I was actually going to be the substitute player myself, so I was actually going to get involved with the action there, but we decided to put a halt on that one. So hopefully we'll have another event for the lower division players that did want to play in that event. Otherwise, the higher level tournament, like I said, I think we've got 8 players, 4 teams, and we're doing a round robin, best of 5 games. Like I said, random map, random civs. So it's all up in the air, no drafts or anything, we're just straight into the games. So yeah, I think without further ado, we will just try and jump on in. The first series that was played, I actually think one of the games was played by itself, and then the rest of the series got finished at a later date. But the series is between CooL, very high top-seeded player, had to drop out of the last 1v1 tournament due to family issues, but he's back here again to play, and his teammate is going to be Genie. Genie being a very solid player in the Legion division in Rise of the Ancients leagues, and their opponents are going to be Vertex and Bongo. So Genie, a little bit sort of, because the other 3 players are all Centurion League players, so Genie, because he was a slightly weaker player, part of the rulings was that some of the lower seeded players have been given the handicap, the in-game handicap, and I believe for this series Genie was given 5%. There's been some discussion about what was the correct handicap to give. I wasn't too involved with the tournament, what's the word for it, sort of like setting it up and stuff myself. I think personally I probably would have just not used the handicap system, and then just, unfortunately some teams, it's just the way tournaments work, right? Some teams are always going to be better than others. But I think it was just because there's a couple of players that were like, again, sort of Legion division players, and there were a lot of players that were Centurion that tried to balance that out a little bit. So I think the general idea is that we're trying to get a good idea for what handicap level to use for these beginning rounds, and then in the further, more important stages of the tournament, a fixed handicap will be given to some of the lower players like Genie. I think the other players KT, and then Popeye is the 3rd player. Those are sort of Legion level players, where all the other 5 players are sort of there are more pro level, if you want, Centurion League players. But like I said, so the first series, best of 5, is going to be CooL and Genie versus Vertex and Takeaway Bongo. And like I said, Genie will be given a 5% handicap. So what that means is basically, I think, basically everything just has a 5% boost. So I think his villagers gather 5% faster, they build 5% quicker, units train and techs train and research 5% faster. So like in theory you should be able to get faster up times than the other players, but of course they have the skill and experience to try and make up for that, and hopefully we'll get some even games in the series. Like I said, we are going from replays. For anyone that does know the results, please no spoilerinos. I did actually try to sort out some of the replays earlier today, and unfortunately I couldn't get Capture Age to run them properly. I think it's because I'm running an older build of Age of Empires so that I can view the replays, because there's been the update in the middle of the week with the release of the Chronicles DLC, and for some reason Capture Age the audio isn't working for it properly. So I can get like the video and the replay works fine, but there's just no sound. And I found that, well, to me personally, that watching the game feels a bit emptier when you don't have those sound effects. So I think for this series, or these 2 replay series, I'm going to use the client in-game replay system, just so we have those sounds, because I feel like that, even though the UI is much better in Capture Age, I think just having those sound effects makes the stream a bit more interesting. We do have a live series tomorrow between Bongo and Vertex again, but they're playing against Unrestricted and Popeye, and that will be live, so I should be able to play on the actual live version of the game, and should be able to get that on Capture Age. But anyway, I've already been talking for way too long, so like I said, we'll try and we'll get ourselves into the CooL Genie versus Vertex Bongo game 1. I've already got the replay here, so actually just as that song finishes off, I might just pause the soundtrack there and get us straight into the first game of that series. I will try launching it on Capture Age one last time just to give it a go, but I've got a feeling this probably still isn't going to work. So yeah, it keeps doing this error message. You might have heard the little bing bong there. So yeah, because I'll just show you so you can sort of see what we're talking about. Actually, if I press this view, so yeah, you can see the game here, but we've got no sound. And then if I switch to we do have the actual game noises here. Logan? So yeah, I think unfortunately we're going to have to sack off Capture Age for this series, and I will just stick to the in-game. Like I said, unfortunately the UI is not as good just because you can only see from one player's perspective. I will change this to what's going to be the best thing here. Maybe I'll try and switch between like resources and like population. I think resources is probably the most useful here. So anyway, yeah, I guess, yeah, turn off Fog of War as well, that'd be helpful. And let me just, I'm not I'm not as used to using the in-game point of view, so I'm just going to reacclimatize myself. I guess we'll just start this off and then we'll try to wing it as we go. So again, like I said, 2v2, random civs, random map. The map they've got here, it looks like it's inland, I think, from, let me just double check. Yes, this is an inland from the spawn. Oh, pause. Wait, is that a game pause? I was going to say, surely I don't have to wait for the in-game pause as a replay. Anyway, so let's have a look. So yeah, like I said, inland, and Genie on the Hittites here, on the red, and his teammate CooL is going to be on, I think that's the Babylonians, that symbol. It's been a while. There we go, yeah, Babylonians. Bongo is on the Palmyrans. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to go for any early rush strats for the Palmyrans. And finally, Minoans for Vertex. And this map, like inland, does have a lot of funky spawns. So this time we do have a river down the middle of the map, and I saw another estuary, not estuary, what do I mean? Is it an estuary? Words. Smaller river off to this way. There's quite a few crossings. There's one major crossing here, and obviously here as well. Actually, there's one in the middle as well there. So plenty of ways to cross. Not going to be very easy to block that off. Sometimes you do just have those smaller crossings where you can wall up, sometimes do a bit of a dock block. Elephant getting taken in that. But like I said, Minoans, if you can get that dock set down and those fishing ships set up, or even warships in the later phase. I'm just trying to have a look how many fish are in here. There's a decent amount there for this little private pool Vertex has, so if he does scout that out, let's have a look from his point of view. Yeah, he does find that now. And yeah, Bongo sort of has his own little pool as well. Doesn't look like there are as many fish there. This is a replay, Marek. This was, I think this particular game was actually played over a week ago. And then the rest of the series got delayed a little bit. Actually, the scroll speed is a little bit fast. See if I can just slow that down a bit. What do I want here? Is it game? Scroll speed. Maybe try 10. That's a little bit too slow. Go back up to 15. There we go, that's alright. We'll play with that. I've lost my trail of thought now, what we're saying. Yeah, but yeah, so the Minoans, obviously, cheaper docks, cheaper ships. Each of the players does have their own pool, though. CooL's pool is absolutely massive, and he has actually built that first storage pit next to that shorefish that have actually just run out. Obviously, fish, the fastest income form of food in AoE1. So yeah, again, like I said, each player's going to have their own sort of pool to work with, but then this sort of river section kind of favouring the Bongo Vertex side of things. And we do have an initial villager already having a look around. And the Hittites, if they can get on the water, their extra range bonus can be pretty strong. When there's like these thin channels, you get these, yeah, these bits. What's the word I'm trying to use here? It's late in the day. My brain's already gone. We're just starting the stream. Yeah, the bottlenecks. That's the word. Anyway, we're going to see the two villages actually cross over each other, and yep, looks like Genie's villager is going to be spotted by Vertex now. So this forward isn't going to come to much. It's a little bit surprising that Genie, as the Hittites, was really going for an early push. Obviously, Hittites no real early game bonus. I guess none of these civs have like massive early game bonus other than the Minoans on the water. Is Genie just going to lose this villager here, maybe? The Palmyrans do have the sort of funny start just because of their villager bonus. Another villager does get sent forward by Vertex, but two more have been sent by Genie. So we're going to have a battle royale on the crossing here. Genie's not paying 100% attention to this though, now he does notice. And this is a big commitment from him. So that's 3 villagers. Let me actually go back to the population. Let's have a look here. Bongo's actually... Oh yeah, of course, he's the Palmyrans, that's why he's a little bit behind. And Tool Age is nearly in, for we're on Vertex's point of view. And Bongo already up. That's another unfortunate thing about the in-game view. Clubbers coming down here. I actually missed the forward barracks on this side. Looks like Bongo, yeah, very ready for this already though. Small wall already researched. Walls going up. And no needlework in, but he has got the Palmyran villagers with that extra armour. So these clubbers not going to be able to do too much. Armour in now though, and that makes it tricky, but yeah, Bongo already has a couple of the clubbers of his own to push this back. So it looks like CooL Genie just going for the all-in play, but like I said, CooL's early efforts kind of fended off for the time being. Genie is going to manage to get a villager kill though, that's quite nice. A couple of villagers do get through as well. Archery range going up for Vertex to the back, just researching battle axe as well now. Already a forward archery range, but that has been, I think, walled out. Yeah, that's walled off here. Let me just check it back on this side. Yeah, Bongo fully walled. And, I mean, If they can fend this off, yeah, Axe already in for Vertex as well. I thought this was going to be another archery range, but it is actually a barracks. But yeah, Bow's already out for Vertex. And you can see he's setting up these docks on the water. In fact, he's already got a dock over this side that I hadn't noticed. So it's quite a lot to keep track of in the 2v2 games. Genie's going to keep trying to push. What I was going to say was, this is going to be a little bit difficult to walk around this way. There's Vertex just momentarily housed there. I think the in-game noise is a little bit loud, so I'm just going to turn that down as well. Sound volume. Get that down to 40%. Sorry about that. I'll get that started up again. But yeah, like Bongo and Vertex feel like they have much stronger eco civs if the game does go long. So it's already kind of looking like, even though CooL and Genie are slightly ahead on score, that this initial push may have been fended off, especially on the CooL side. In fact, CooL, yeah, a few axes on his base, but he is already walled up. He is on the water with a few docks here. The problem with these pools is, like, if you overcommit to building too many fish, it's good in the short term, but then eventually the fish do run out. It looks like CooL again has got quite a lot of fish in here. Let's go back to the action on this side though. Yeah, Vertex already with a good number of bows out. And I think if we go to Genie's point of view, yeah, still no slingers anywhere to be seen. Still going for the axe when you've got this mass of bows in. Obviously, Genie does have the Hittite moment, but you just see one of the slingers there just plinking away. I'm not really sure why that slinger's out on the outside, as opposed to maybe going on the inside. Village has been brought in to repair the barracks, so I think that's just going to survive. Got down to pretty low health there, and looks like this push, like I said, seems to mostly be fended off. There is another axe here. Like I said, all players with their own ponds have more or less set themselves up with the fishing eco. A couple of scout ships out actually for Bongo, but no real opposition on the waters. One sneaky axe does get through. He's actually missing the tool working tech, I've just noticed that. So I think the bow is going to make reasonably quick work of this. Let's go to the, there we go, kills death. So 20 kills from Vertex. So like I said, those bowmen for him doing a really good job. 21 deaths for Genie now. And unfortunately we can't see eco deaths on outside of capture age. Oh, this scout ship's going to absolutely clean up here. Genie losing another unit there, unfortunately. And getting housed at the same time. It looks like Bongo's not managed to get into CooL's base. We've brought these axes around, trying to plink through the wall. And it's just another house going up for the time being. I don't think Genie has any military buildings in his base that I can see. He's just re-walling behind that. Again, it's just another house. Because yeah, buildings are all forward. That barracks is going to get taken down. And it feels like a little bit of a waste of resources from Genie at this point. Yeah, these axes have just been popping out and just dying instantly. Barracks here, Vertex is actually going to get taken down now. So Genie is still trying to make some sort of push work. But I think, yeah, that's 9 bows, a couple of slingers, a few axes. And I think, even though these are Hittite bows, I just don't think Genie has the numbers here. And you can see in the score now there's actually quite a big lead that's going to maybe the resort. I went past it. And CooL, wait, CooL has a ridiculous number of resources, already into bronze. I guess he has been mostly untouched. So CooL actually got himself into bronze. But you can see here, Genie, 25 food. He is getting the farm eco set up now. But Vertex possibly going to be able to try and push something forward now. For the time being, it kind of looks like he's just trying to clear up his base. Let's have a look at what Bongo's doing for the meantime. Just his axes chilling. And then if we go to their point of view, yeah, Bronze Age coming in now for Bongo, and Vertex is actually nearly there himself. And just double check, yeah, Genie nowhere near, unfortunately. So CooL, despite not really having been attacked, hasn't really got, like I said, he got himself to bronze first, but it doesn't feel like he's done too much with it just yet. I guess he's setting up the extra TCs for the time being, trying to go for the eco approach. There's just a few ships on the waters. And again, Genie trying to get something done, but I mean, at this point, he kind of needs to try and consolidate his position and start saving up some food. I guess he has got 21. That's probably including the fishing ships as well on the food. So it should be able to get up to 800 food reasonably quick if he stops spending the resources. He's got 5 villagers in queue. You can cancel a few of those down. Bronze Age in for Bongo now. CooL, you can see, actually is on the highest points individually now, but still, okay, setting up the archer ranges. Obviously, Babylonian chariot archers with the +1 pierce armor, which is quite a nice unit. At the moment, though, Vertex and Bongo definitely controlling the crossings. Actually, composite bowman is the choice from CooL here. That's quite interesting. If you can get a good mass of those that units, obviously has that 1 extra attack and costs less resources overall. But those Babylonian chariot archers are quite nice and tanky. Yeah, looks like Genie's docks are going to get taken out here as well. Fishing ship upgrade already, and I don't know where these fishing ships are going a long way somewhere. But yeah, big group of composite bowmen now, 13 at the moment, and let's have a look how many we've got in queue. Just another 3 at the moment. You could queue up quite a few more if you wanted to. 63 is the villager count. Let's maybe go to the, here we go, 77 villagers for CooL. Genie's actually still got a good number of villagers, but he just needs to get himself to the Bronze Age. War Galley upgrade is already in. Composite Bowman actually slightly outrange those War Galleys. Obviously, if Vertex brought his in, well, he's not actually upgraded them. Oh no. Oh, it's Hittites. Oh, no, I'm going, yeah, confused. It's Genie that's the Hittites. But anyway, big push with the Composite Bowman, but War Galleys are pretty tanky, so I don't think this is really a trade CooL should really be going for. Genie has got himself to the Bronze Age now. CooL's going to lose a lot of these bowmen though. Only 45 HP on a bowman, 160 on a War Galley. Those War Galleys do 8 damage each. So even though there was only about 5 of those War Galleys, those composite bowmen taking a lot of punishment there. I think that's the last. Oh, Genie does have another dock down here, but 1 more dock will go down. And yeah, Siege Workshop is forward from CooL. And there we go, Stone Thrower queue at the top there. And he is working his way through. Bongo with defensive Stone Thrower though. This is one of the reasons that Composite Bowmen have sort of fallen out of favour a little bit. It's because this unit's pretty scary against the compies. And look, is Bongo going to get a big hit in? That looks like it's going to be good to me. Oh my god. Big hit from the Stone Thrower. The Stone Thrower's got 3 pierce armor as well, remember, so they're fairly resistant to being shot back at. There's a good mass of compies though, still. Second Stone Thrower is out. Another hit. Doesn't quite get as many, but some damage in. And it's going to be a bit for Stone Thrower versus Stone Thrower action, but Bowmen are through. Never just sort of hit them back. CooL doing his best to micro those units and keep moving them forward. It's going to lose it. Oh wow, okay. Oh well. second Siege Workshop there does clear up. CooL taking quite a few losses. Did a reasonable amount of damage there. What unit is actually Bongo going for? It looks like he's literally just relying on the Stone Throwers at the moment. He does have a couple of War Galleys left. Just having a look now, actually, it's a cavalry raid from Vertex. Kind of looks like they're leaving Genie alone for the time being. He does have a small mass chariot archers, but yeah, I think Vertex and Bongo are sort of sensing But CooL's in the stronger position, so they're just trying to 2v1, get an advantage there. A few villagers probably going to get caught out with cavalry here. +4 attack is in. No melee armor, but probably don't really need that, especially against the ranged units. So this TC here is going to get denied. And a whole bunch of villagers go down. Let's go back down here though. A couple of sentry towers in defense. Did lose a couple of his stone throwers there, but I think quite a few of these compies aren't going to make it. And again, I'm a little bit curious or confused as to why. Well, yeah, maybe I find it a little bit curious. That's probably the best way of saying those words. Why CooL didn't go for the chariot archer. Like I said, the compies do more damage, but the chariot archers are just a much more difficult unit to deal with once they get fully massed up. Obviously, Genie with his Hittite chariot archers. He is currently missing the artisan ship for the +2 range, but obviously, yeah, it gets the +1 damage from his Hittite bonus. Villagers going to try and run away, not feeling too safe on the wood line there. Probably would have been better to try and build the TC sort of further back this way. There's a little bit in the firing line here, but where are Vertex's cavalry units? So they're here. So it looks like they feel like maybe they've done enough damage to CooL, possibly switching into attacking Genie now. You can see Genie's a little bit behind on score still. That might be just villager numbers. I mean, he is ahead of Bongo on villager numbers. Maybe it's just that KD. You can see only 30 kills for Genie. A little bit slower to get to that Bronze Age. CooL bringing in some backup. The compies hit. +4 armor as well. So they can be fairly resistant to the cavalry, but still a couple of stone thrower shots in. Going to make all the difference. And where is Bongo in all of this? Still a good number of compies from CooL. And obviously Vertex going for the Minoan compies with that extra +1 range in the Bronze Age as well. So this game is getting pretty chaotic. Like I said, I feel like at this point the Palmyran Eco should just be absolutely flying for Bongo, especially you can see there's a ridiculous number of fishing ships for the Minoans as well. So the fish are going to get less efficient as the further they have to go away. Looks like CooL trying to get some form of push in. Vertex now in the Iron Age. Both CooL in the Iron Age as well. Babylonians don't necessarily have a real power unit. I guess the Scythe Chariot is their best unit in the late game. And the Vertex is the Minoans. Yeah, just gets that extra +1 more range on the compies. But yeah, it looks like CooL just has the unit number at the moment. So military-wise, yeah, 66 army for CooL. So maybe CooL can keep this push going. Genie at the back, kind of getting a little bit caught up with the war galleys. I feel like you can maybe if you want to snipe anything, it'd probably be the fishing ships. I mean, he does take it out, but like I said, this war galley is quite high HP. CooL is pushing for Genie in the Iron Age now, so actually all players in the Iron Age. Hittites could possibly start getting out the Horse Archer at this point. I'm not sure what the eco is looking like for Genie at the time. It's got a decent amount of gold. It's a bit short for food though, so that transition might be a bit... Whoa, big hits from the stone throwers there. Actually, I hadn't seen Vertex with the triremes now. Going to push away these villagers from this huge amount of gold on the shoreline here. And all the chariot archers go down. Meanwhile, compies are still pushing. Vertex somehow still on a very nice score. CooL has the score lead, but overall team score slightly lower. It has closed up quite a lot. And let's have a look back at the numbers here. Military count for Vertex is at 38. I don't know if a lot of that is the triremes, because it feels like there's nothing stopping these compies here. Numbers are slightly dwindling. I guess like a few units being chipped off here and there, but lots of villagers going down. And Vertex, what's his? He's still at 112 Vil Pop. I guess he maybe just has enough TCs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 to keep those pumping out. Catapult upgrade in now, and I think that is going to be the end of CooL's push. So let's go back to this side. And it is the Horse Archer out for Genie. And if you can micro your units well to avoid that stone catapult fire, these units can be very deadly. Ooh, big hits though, good shots from Bongo. And yeah, just trying to close the distance, get into melee range so those catapults can't shoot and those get cleared up. So Genie, again, he's been reasonably far behind, but it looks like he's been doing enough of a job to keep himself in there. Has a bit more stone to collect. There's a whole bunch of gold up there. I don't know if you've seen that. So if we can put Fog of War. He does, yeah, he does see the gold up there. Looks like he's switched back into the Chariot Archer. Possibly. Does he not have the gold? No, he's got plenty of gold left. Yeah, Genie's got plenty of gold. So could have just kept going. These triremes, though, are going to be a problem if they want to get over the crossing. That said, like I said in the earlier game, that was pretty cool, interesting. Bongo with the elephants pushing through now. Only paying attention to this side of the map. And what's the unit composition looking like for CooL this team? Interestingly, he's gone for Swordsman, which feels a bit weird when his opponent is playing Horse Archer and now Elephant. As Babylonians? I can't remember what the Babylonian upgrades are. In fact, we can check. They missed the last two Pierce Armor upgrades. Yeah, I didn't think they were fully upgraded. This doesn't look like... I mean, I guess if you get enough numbers, maybe? But this doesn't feel like the best play. This Horse Archer is just going to be very difficult to deal with. Again, the Chariots just have that +1 Pierce Armor. So that probably would have been my default option as the Babylonians. These long swordsmen just going to get swept up, right? Maybe he was just thinking as a meat shield to just put units in front of his catapults. Maybe that was the idea there. Yeah, they don't get the phalangite, the Babylonians, they need stuff with a hoplite. But yeah, these elephants coming through now. And it's going to be fairly difficult for CooL to stop, I think, at this point. Yeah, he's only got the watchtower as well. Babylonian towers are pretty good, but the watchtower a little bit outclassed in the Iron Age at this point. Still plenty of catapults, but catapults, I mean, they're good at hitting the elephants, but the elephants just have so much HP. I tend to think unless you get a really big group of catapults, they're not the best unit to deal with the elephants. Normally you need like priests or just a hell of a lot of centurions. But yeah, these heavy, sorry, just regular horse archers, not heavy horse archers, just sweeping up some villagers around and about. Let's have a look on the Vertex side. Looks like Vertex is just kind of happy to hold the position. He does have a whole bunch of catapults, but he's CooL. CooL, some choice words. Guess CooL maybe a little bit frustrated. His pushes all got kind of thwarted. The early game push around here got stopped. And obviously lost all his compies eventually against Vertex, who managed to absorb a lot of the damage there. Genie's still trying to grab this gold hit. I don't know if CooL has tapped out at this point. Ellie just pwned. I mean, like I said, Legion's not really the best unit for dealing with elephants. But yeah, I mean, elephants are a very difficult unit to deal with once there's like a good mass of them. Just because, like I said, they're just so healthy. You can maybe get a few priests out that can try and thin the numbers. Obviously a very expensive unit, so you can convert those. That's a lot of resources sort of stolen. Looks like the game's going to keep going for now. Heavy catapult is in for Vertex at this point, plus the engineering upgrade as well. Kind of looks like Genie has no real military left. Yeah, you can see here only 8 military. Still a few horse archers coming out, but yeah, Genie resigns. And there we have it. That's game 1. Okay. But yeah, some interesting unit choices by CooL. Like I said, the Babylonians usually go with the chariot archers, the default. Like I said, composite bowmen can be very strong if you do get that big mass of them up. But these days it's just very easy to just build a handful of stone throwers, which is exactly what Bongo did. So Bongo did, yeah, exactly like I said, what you needed to do in the situation. Like I said, he managed to wall up. I can't, unfortunately, go back without Capture Age. Man, Capture Age is so much better than the in-game client. I guess they probably stopped updating the in-game client because everyone uses Capture Age. Yeah, just to remind everyone, I'm not using Capture Age because, unfortunately, I'm using the an older version of the game to play the replays, and Capture Age was having some sound issues with that, so I'm just using the in-game replay system. But yeah, like I was saying, that early attack from CooL was fairly easily snuffed out. I think Genie actually did a pretty good job keeping that early aggression up, but then I think there was that barracks that he had around here, and he kind of kept losing those axes a lot. As soon like an axe would spawn and it just instantly die. Maybe he could have like garrisoned the axes in the barracks and then popped them all out at once, because he did have a small group of units there. I said, I don't know if Genie ever really killed any villagers with his push, was the thing. He was sort of trading back and forth, and like I said, the KD wasn't great for Genie. And arguably, Genie maybe overcommitted to that push with all the other players getting to Bronze Age much quicker. Like I said, CooL was the first to get to Bronze Age, but then it was sort of, he didn't really set himself up with much. Like I said, he did choose to go for, like, yeah, he put all the archery ranges up, and I guess he was just teching into the composite bowman. It takes quite a while to research the improved bowman and then composite bowman. Although we did actually reduce that time a little bit in the last patch. In the last community patch, the compies are a little bit quicker to research. I think it's 20 seconds we reduced the time by. So it's just a little bit quick to get that upgrade in. But yeah, he lost quite a few of those units to the war galleys on here, and then a lot more to the stone throwers. So yeah, again, Bongo just very strong with his defense, and then CooL managed to get a good push onto Vertex, but it just felt like Vertex was just absorbing all the damage. Again, maybe just had the resources. It's a little bit difficult to see with the UI here, all the information. But I think he just had enough food to just keep pumping villagers and replacing the lost ones. And then, yeah, the trireme for the Minoans, yeah, with the alchemy in there as well at the end. Just really easy to control the crossings at that point. So it was always going to be hard for CooL and Genie to sort of ever get back across this at any point. Just because ships are such powerful units compared to land units. Like, yeah, you got 200 health, 13 damage against 9 and 69. And these only cost wood, these triremes. So yeah, once you lose control of that war, it's always makes the game much more difficult. So yeah, that's game 1. So let's go back to the replay folder. What am I doing? I'm trying to find the replay folder. There we go. And get us straight into game 2. So it looks like this game was played on Oasis. Load replay, that's the button I'm looking for. And let's see what the civilizations were this time. So I'll turn the fog of war off so we can see anything. So we have Egyptians for Genie. That's unfortunately not the best civilization for the Oasis map. So that's already not a great start for Genie. CooL has the Shanglo, and that is... The Shanglo is a very good civ on basically every map. So I think CooL should have been pretty pleased with that. Persians, though, for Vertex, and Persians are considered a top-tier Oasis civilization, and Hittites for Bongo. So I feel like civ-wise, this is fairly even, because I feel like Shang and Persians, they both basically just have that early food bonuses, cheaper villages for Shang obviously, and just faster gathering hunt for the Persians, whereas the Hittites and the Egyptians, much more of Bronze Age civs. If you can get a good massive bowman as the Hittites, and your opponent doesn't really have the slingers to deal with them, obviously the Hittites can still be quite powerful in the Tool Age, but it's not more when you get to those chariot archers, when the Hittites start really taking off. Those Hittite chariot archers are one of the most deadly units in the game. Obviously the Egyptian chariot archers no slouches either. And yeah, it looks like Vertex has managed to find an elephant already. Let's have a look around actually. He's got one here, which he looks like he will find.
Logan?
Can't do the quick check. He hasn't quite spotted it yet. Like, on Cap Trader, all I have to do is do this and then press tab, and it lets me see the player's fog of war. He is going to find that elephant though. Patch a gazelle here, which he may spot. It looks like he may be going to just grab this elephant now, though. Okay, or not. I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on here. There we go. Another elephant up here. Over here. Berries at the back. Yeah, looks like most of the players, yeah, just bringing in the hunt for the time being, as well as obviously having those handful of villagers on the berries as well, just for that consistent food gathering. And let's have a look at the food, well, the resources, just see who gets to that 500 food. Villager count 15, all the way through. And looks like CooL has actually got to 16 first, so a little bit of idle TC time from the other players. As we see Kip's playing Deadlock. I always forget to turn my Steam notifications off when I do these streams. I need to remember to do that. But we won't interrupt the game for the time being. Like I said, Shang should be the most consistently quickest to the Tool Age, but obviously the Persian hunt bonus can sometimes give them the faster up times. Sid Meier's 5 from Harvest the Beans. Let's have a look, see. So, are we approaching yet? So you can see Vertex and Bongo and Genie building up that food. CooL has not got as much food. I don't know if that just means he's got a bunch of villagers in the queue. Maybe yeah, I think he must have cancelled a bunch there, unless he just, all the food came in at once. But yeah, all players on 20 pop, and I think we'll be clicking up now. And CooL, has he clicked? Yeah, he has clicked. Oh yeah, there he, yeah. I was looking for like the research thing, and I don't know if that was brain lag from me or if it was the UI there. We'll say it was brain lag. It was probably brain lag. Any forward villagers? CooL is yellow. These villagers blend in a little bit with the desert, but I think there are no forwards at the moment. There's a villager sort of poking its head in an adventurous way from Vertex here. Genie with another, I don't know if that's just going to grab the elephant, or I think this is a forward Vil. So Genie again, with not a very aggressive civ, is trying to go for more of an aggressive play. I don't know if this is him just thinking that if he goes to the later game, he just doesn't feel like he has a chance against the stronger players, or if this is just Genie's play style in general. I've seen quite a few of Genie's games. In fact, I've lost quite a few games against Genie in Rise of the Ancients League. This is a much stronger player than I am, and he does tend to play quite aggressively in that division. Some players would have taken a sort of a bit more cautious approach, I feel, but yeah, all the players more or less hitting the tool at the same time. Vertex with the forward stable from the Persians here, and I think, yeah, straight into bows for CooL here. And I think, I could be wrong, but I don't see, yeah, no, because yeah, I'd see it up here. He's not got a single clubman out, which obviously means 0 axes, which means there's not going to be a good reply to these scouts when they come in. And Oasis is one of those more difficult maps to wall. I mean, Bongo's done his best effort trying to wall it. And Factories, yeah, use those wood lines to just try and string them together to the side of the map. He's got a couple more elephants as well. So Bongo sitting pretty tight. Excuse me, it's pretty nicely hit. And Genie might want to try and switch into getting some slingers. Yeah, he is doing that. Okay, I was going to just say to break through those walls. But first scout is through. Looks like it took a lot of damage from something. I don't know if that's just the bows chipping it down. And no, doesn't appear. Okay, no, sorry, he just got it in now. The needlework for the extra 10 HP on villagers, +1 attack. Well, that's interesting, actually. I don't know if... So, yeah, when it goes to hunters, hunters have an extra damage, but that +1 still applies to hunters. It doesn't really mean much, but it's just something I've never noticed before. Sorry, so that distracted me. But yeah, these scouts already going to be causing a whole lot of problems for CooL and Genie. I feel like this was a little bit short-sighted by CooL. I guess maybe he didn't 100% know he was opposite Vertex, but it is quite usual for the Persians, especially on Oasis, to try and go for the scouts. And scouts on this patch are only 85 food, so a little bit cheaper to get that mass going. Excuse me, just a bit of a cough there. And Genie has got a decent mass up now of units. Quite a lot of slingers. I don't know. Does he have? Yeah, he does have stone mining in. And Bongo does have the woodworking in as well, so he's actually going to lose a unit there. Genie may be probably a bit distracted by what's going on in his base. Needlework is in. Oddly, he's on 36 HP, that villager. That's a very weird. I don't know if that's just a spectator bug. I don't know how he's managed to get 1 more HP on his villagers there. Very odd. And yeah, it looks like Bongo's doing a good job of using that, because yeah, bows have +1 extra range than slingers, and he's using that extra range to good effect. Does lose a bow there though. Yeah, scouts pushing in, and yeah, the extra bowman coming through now as well. And like I said, just going straight into the bowman, possibly quite a big mistake from CooL here. Maybe, I don't know, I was going to say maybe a little bit disrespectful to his opponents, but I don't know. Maybe he just thought as the Shang you just have enough time, get to the tool edge quicker than his opponents. But again, Persians, I mean, he's got a good number of bows for the time being. But yeah, again, just 1 scout plus, is it 3 extra damage they do to bows? Or maybe it's just 2. But they're very effective into the bowman. And a whole bunch of villagers going to go down here. And I think, how many villagers has got just idle in that TC? I don't know why I skipped over there. But yeah, CooL with all sorts of problems here. Only a handful of bows left. Another archer range does go down. It's pretty thin on the ground for food though. Still manages, he's still up to on 29 villagers, which actually quite surprises me. And but yeah, you can actually see only 18 villagers for Genie. So I guess that scout raid has done a number on him there. And Bongo's just been playing pretty defensive, just been holding the position. I think maybe he's just happy for Vertex to just keep pushing on CooL. And Vertex, even with us, I was going to say a slinger out, and then he got battered down. So yeah, Vertex just kind of sending everything in the kitchen sink at the moment. Well, it does. Its numbers are dwindling, and Bronze Age is actually in for CooL, who's done well to keep himself. Like I said, his villager number is quite high despite the pressure. That's just the power of Shang, though. There's 40 HP, not HP, 40 food villagers. Very strong. And Bongo just doing a ridiculously good job at holding these slingers back. And Genie just struggling to sort of break through here. Again, it's just utilising, even though these bows still only do 1 damage to the slinger. Just utilizing that extra range he has. And CooL, is he just going to put some cavalry out? Doesn't have any stables. He's going for the government center again. I feel like CooL just does this in pretty much all his games. He prefers to establish his like eco position instead of like pressing any sort of advantage with the Bronze Age in terms of military. And this, I mean, if you go unpunished, obviously it's very good in the long run. You just have way more resources, but it does leave you open to counter damage. At the moment, Vertex still in the Bronze Age, so he's not going to be under too much threat. Well, he may lose another villager here, but yeah, once Wheel is in, it is quite hard to actually catch those villagers out. So possibly CooL going to be able to get himself set up quite nicely. Another villager does go down though. So there's only so much garrison space, but yeah, first wave of chariot archers coming out. Only with a +1 range, no artisanship just yet. Slinger's been able to do some good damage, but as I've said in the past, Slinger is not really that useful of a unit in the Bronze Age, just because they do good damage to chariot archers, but they just lack the range to really do close that gap down and get that damage in, usually if the person with the chariots is paying attention. So it looks like most of his army's been pushed back. Let's have a look at Vertex. Is he on the way to bronze? He is on the way to bronze now. And it looks like he has mostly walled up. Obviously it is open technically around here, but CooL would have to go all the way around. But yeah, CooL is going to run into the walls. I think that's a bushette. A dragon tree apparently. So I think CooL isn't going to be able to find an easy way through here. May just take that house down. House is a little bit more hefty since the last community patch update as well. So a little bit more difficult to just house your opponent by just taking out all the houses. And is Genie anywhere near the Bronze Age? Let's have a look. Genie still, unfortunately, has got quite a lot of wood. Probably needs to shift a few of... Wait a minute. I'm looking at CooL here. Yeah, Genie. Looks like, he's been setting up all these towers. Bongo come in care. Yeah, he's got the chariot archers out now. But yeah, just not really anywhere near the resources he needs. And like I said, he's been using these towers to try and defend himself, but that's like a lot of resources and time committed to collecting that. Should be able to do a decent amount to defend him for the time being, but in the long run, yeah, you can just sit outside the range of the tower. This is 9 range on the chariots, 7 range for the tower. And CooL has come to try and defend. See Vertex, okay, Vertex going for the cavalry units. +2/+2 at the moment. Let's go back to here for the time being. Yeah, you can garrison 5 villas in the towers, and that is another tower going up. Yeah, Genie really needs to get himself into the Bronze Age as soon as possible. He's nearly at the 800 food he needs. But yeah, you can see the mass of chariot archers and the Hittite chariot archers, like I was saying earlier in the game. Can be very difficult to deal with. And let's have a look. It's Vertex. Oh, looks like Vertex actually managed to get a good clean-up on the push there from CooL. CooL maybe a little bit distracted about what's going on around here. 8 chariot archers to the 9. I think the Hittite chariot archers could maybe win that, but yet Bongo just choosing to go on the offensive, try and pick up a couple of villagers. Might get a little bit squeezed here though, so probably going to lose a few of these units. There was a lot of use and fuse. And do we have a next wave of reinforcements? They're still just chilling back here. And Bronze Age is finally in for Genie. His unit's kind of been a little bit trapped now. So Bongo probably going to lose a good count of that. But then, that said, counter-attack by Vertex. So CooL a little bit 1v2 at the moment. As Genie, like I said, he committed all of his resources to the towers, which are only useful defensively, obviously can't for himself. Can't really help CooL out here. CooL forced to garrison a whole bunch of villagers again. And camels are being made by CooL now. Doesn't have another one there. +2/+2 in for those. +4/+4 in for Vertex though. Vertex finds the wood line here, and that could be big trouble for CooL. Villager numbers, CooL 72, Bongo on 72. Vertex a little bit behind, but yes, still only 34 for Genie. I feel like Genie did actually do quite a good job of keeping himself in the game in the first game. But yeah, just Bronze Age coming in now, which is obviously where the Egyptians shine, but yeah, already a forward siege workshop. Genie's not going to really have time. Sentry Tower upgrade's going to come in, but that's not going to do anything against the Stone Thrower. And Wheel's just going to take too long to come in to make any difference. In fact, where is Genie's market is what I'm trying to find here. I don't know if he built the market forward and it's been destroyed. Unless my eyes are deceiving me. I can't... Oh, no, it's there. There we go. My eyes were deceiving me. But yeah, Wheel. 90%. And yeah, CooL, like I said, sort of been bearing the brunt of Vertex's attacks. And yeah, CooL taps out. Yeah, it feels like Genie just got a little bit too far behind in this game. Bongo again, just playing a very solid defense in the early phases of the game that was basically fully walled before Genie really got his push going, which is pretty rare for a Oasis game to get those walls up that quickly. And like I said, Genie just maybe overcommitted to getting to all these towers up, as opposed to just getting the food he needed to get to the Bronze Age. Because like I said, towers not going to really do anything against your opponent once they've got that siege. And it did obviously slow Bongo's push down a little bit, but then obviously that meant Bongo could just go and try and flank CooL, who was just completely open still. Again, I'm a little bit surprised by CooL's approach to the early game, just completely skipping AXA. Again, he may not have necessarily known he was opposite the Persians, but I mean, even if Persians were on this side, they could attack Genie and then just moved over to CooL later. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just those early bows not really able to deal with the scouts, and scouts just causing a lot of mayhem. Like I said, CooL did a very good job of actually getting to the Bronze Age under all that pressure. I guess for Vertex, when you go for those scouts, that's always going to put you quite far behind economically. Because even though, like I said, we've lowered the scouts cost to 85, that's still a very large commitment of food you have to go for. But I think Vertex did get enough damage done with those, especially because he managed to move over and kill off a few of Genie's villagers as well. Don't know what the final KD is. Yeah, unfortunately, 19 to 52. Bongo 64 to 26, but that's just like once you get the chariot archers up and running, you're always going to have a pretty good KD at that point. And CooL holding a little bit stronger, like I said, getting that Bronze Age in. But unfortunately, Genie just a little bit too far out of this game to really get much done. So that brings us on to game 3. And so potentially this could have been a 3-0 sweep. We'll see if Genie and CooL can bring anything back. Like I said, it felt like Genie did a pretty good job of just keeping the villager numbers up in that first game, but this game, like I said, he just got way too far behind. So third map's actually going to be mega random. So not only do we have random civs, the mega randomness is even going to be even more random. And so let's load us in. So it'll be interesting to see how crazy the spawn is on this particular mega random as I get us into game 3. So it's currently 2-0 to Vertex and Bongo. And so we sort of have a kind of like a rivers map. One big crossing here, which is not really going to be wallable realistically in the early game. Look at, yeah, look look how wide that goes round. So like you'd have to wall all the way around here to close that off. A little bit easier to close off on that side, but still very open. Guarded by a wolf on the crossing. Let's have a look at the civs. Actually, looking just at the spawn itself, it doesn't seem too crazy. I'm not really sure how random mega random can be for AoE1. I know in AoE2 you can spawn with like a whole bunch of outposts or sometimes a free stable or archery range or something. But this doesn't look too crazy. It looks actually, yeah, you got a lot of extra gazelle is the main thing. Maybe no elephants. Yeah, I'm not seeing any elephants, so yeah, it's just 2 patches of gazelle by the looks of it instead. And there isn't any extra forage bushes. Obviously there is, or berry bushes I should say, there is some fish in the middle river. If the players ever find the middle river, well, they'll obviously find it eventually, but I mean like in the early game. In fact, whoever finds the river first will probably have quite a significant advantage. Because obviously that means they can just tip off their teammate that there's a river and then can get those docks down ASAP. But yeah, anyway, as I haven't mentioned, Syrians is the civ for Genie. Syrians, as regular viewers of my cast will probably know, is one of my least favourite civs, if not least favourites. And Hittites for CooL. So Hittites 3 games out of 3, but I think 3 different players, because I think it was Genie that had it game 1 and then Bongo game 2. But yeah, CooL and Genie both on the Chariot Archers civs, which sometimes isn't too good. Sometimes you like to have like one civ on a sort of ranged unit and one civ on a melee unit. So in some ways that's not the best, but we'll see if they can work with it. But yeah, Greeks for Bongo, and we'll see if he can get to those Bronze Age hoplites or if he tries to do something else. And then it's the Lakviats for Vertex, so definitely the strongest civ in the early game. There's not many berries on this map for them to work with that eco bonus on that front, but obviously just the extra fast producing military units, just a very, very strong bonus in a game that's all about the early game. Usually more in the 1v1s, that said. In 2v2s it's probably not quite as strong as a bonus because it's a little bit harder to fully take out a player in the early game in team games, just because you can be sort of saved a bit by a teammate. But Vertex is going to be the first to find the river. And let me have a look at the food resources again. Yeah, it looks like Genie's probably clicked up. Like I said, in theory, Genie should be able to get to the Tool Age the fastest because of the 5% handicap he has. I think in the past few games, it's mostly been fairly even between all the players, but I think at this time it looks like he is just going to be straight up the quickest. But I imagine most of the other players are fairly near to him. Villager coming across the crossing, and Genie is sending 2 villagers forward this time. Like I said, it's quite interesting that Genie has gone for this forward attempt in all 3 games, just because I feel like the more advanced players are going to be less susceptible to that sort of play. But does he spot this? He does spot it. Okay. Barracks. Is that going to get denied? I think it is. I think Genie shouldn't pull this villager. Okay. Fair enough. So Vertex potentially could have just kept trying to build that with one of the villagers pulling away. Genie doesn't finish off the villager, but yeah, again, Genie to the Tool Age. The first barracks going up in a pretty awkward place. Bongo, did he build a barracks at home is my next question. He did not. Vertex, sorry, yeah, I got confused between the players, but no, it didn't. But yeah, Vertex is going for the water straight away, and obviously Genie does know about the water as well now, so theoretically all the players should know, as obviously you get shared vision. And Doc's going up, and I guess the Hittites are probably the best water civ out of the civs here. The Greeks do get the faster moving ships, but I think the +1 range is just enough. Ah yes, of course you can just... I was saying about walling off here, but obviously yeah, the dark block is a much easier way of doing this. So Bongo going for the walls pretty early again. Clubber can make this a little bit difficult. I think maybe you should just settle... maybe you should have tried... Ah, okay, actually no, it looked like there was no gap at that point. But that said, you can just take down the dock if you manage to get some scout ships out in the water. And oh yeah, I was going to say, it looks like CooL hadn't gone for the water, but he does now go for it. But I think, unless Vertex... Oh, there we go, he did build scout ships. I was going to say, I think Vertex should be the first to get the scout ships into play. And that is the case. And this might just be an unfortunate situation of Genie being the first to get those docks down. It means he gets the advantage. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but in the last community patch we have made it so towers now do double damage to ships, which I still think means they're not that great at taking out ships still, but obviously it just gives you some better chance of defending the shoreline. Yeah, a lot of these tool age units kind of just going to get denied by the war galleys. I think I'd prefer it if Genie stopped committing to the land push at this point. Another unit gets caught out, as the wolf gets a little bit involved. And let's see, it's CooL. CooL is only going for fishing ships. Okay, scout ships are coming now. Right, I feel like scout ships should have been the order of the day straight up, as controlling this crossing is going to be everything. I mean, obviously you could sneak a scout ship across, sorry, a transport ship across, but like if you've got control of the water, you're much more likely to spot that. Another villager unfortunately get taken down. Oh no, man, just about does manage to escape, but this dock here is probably gonna get denied. CooL pulling a scout ship back there, but yeah, CooL's just a little bit late to getting those docks down, and that's just given Bongo and Vertex a huge head start when getting those ships' numbers down. It's just the be-all and end-all of the water maps. It's kind of what the unfortunate part of the water maps in AoE1 is, just because there is only the one unit type, military unit type in the early game. It's just kind of the civ with the more ships wins, or the team in this case. Like I said, CooL does have that extra range on his ships, but just at the moment he just doesn't have the numbers to compete. You can see here already 8 ships for Bongo, plus a few from Vertex. And in fact, Vertex already going for a pretty greedy number of fishing boats. But I think, unfortunately, this is already looking like a pretty one-sided affair in the favour of Vertex and Bongo, just because of the way the map is. They're just going to have access to all this fish. Genie's pretty much already being pushed to the water. So yeah, there we go. Tower getting involved. Is that tower even in range? That tower is unfortunately not in range. Now it is. Why is that tower not firing? There we go. There we go. That's the bonus in effect. But yeah, unfortunately it doesn't have the woodworking in. But you can still see, even with double damage, it's not like that tower's doing too much. But yeah, and yeah, it looks like CooL is just being completely pushed off all the water as well now. And again, the intention of this bonus was to try and make this a little bit easier to hold your ship shoreline. I think maybe that could have built a tile closer to the shore. like this tower is. So it's kind of cool to see that Genie is at least trying to sort of take advantage of that new tower bonus. Yeah, there's just way too many ships on the water now. Let's have a look. I guess the next thing to think about is who is going to the Tool Age. And by Tool I mean Bronze. Vertex halfway up. Bongo not clicked just yet. I think Bongo has been committing more to the Navy side of things. Although actually Vertex is actually ahead of military score now. Though I think, yeah, Vertex got that fishing boat economy set up nice and early. And again, I feel like just because Vertex Bongo have control of the water now, that this is kind of just going to be a bit of a snowball in their favour. It might not, the game might not end for a while, but just economically they're going to have such a huge advantage. Maybe let's have a look, see if CooL... Yeah, CooL is on the way to Bronze. And Genie... Still a little bit shy. Again, he's got quite a lot of villagers on wood, obviously to try and keep up ship production, but he's long since lost access to the water. And again, it's interesting to see him try to... In fact, yeah, missing tool working... not tooling, not tool working, sorry, woodworking is what I was trying to say. Feels like a big miss on water maps. It's a very important upgrade for these maps. Extra wood and the extra range. All your ships. Yeah, fishing ships already in for Vertex. And like at this point, Vertex and Bongo can pretty much do whatever they like. They can just sit back and chill. CooL and Genie are not going to be able to get a force to contest the crossing for a very long time. The only sort of play really possible would be some sort of sneaky landing. Maybe like shift some cavalry units over or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be tough. And actually a landing party from Vertex himself is going to happen first. Archery range is down. I don't know if he has the wheel in yet. Kind of looks, yeah, it does have the wheel in. His villagers look pretty fast to me. So it's probably going to be chariot archers from Vertex, and yeah, you can see them in the queue now, as well as the artisan ship being researched. And is Bongo going to make any big moves anytime soon? He has got a stable over here. I'm not seeing too much else for the time being. Yeah, Genie looks like he's preparing for a chariot archer transition as soon as his Bronze Age comes in. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to have time to do that. He hits the Bronze Age now, but obviously he starts to research the wheel. And that takes quite a long time, does the wheel. It's a 90-second upgrade. Hittites get it half the time. Yeah, you can see CooL already has a decent number of chariot archers, but it's going to be a tough ask to hold. Sentry tower upgrade does come in. I think the tower bonus doesn't apply to fishing ships. I was just trying to remember, that's why I stopped talking. Vertex here paint. And yeah, I think this is probably going to be the end of the game fairly soon. I'm surprised Bongo kind of hasn't really done much yet. Okay, he's preparing for the hoplite spam. But he's not even got War Galleon. He does have fishing ship upgrade in at least. Okay, we'll move back over here. Sentry towers going to be of limited effectiveness. CooL actually is going to come in. And this may save Genie for the time being. But again, see from Genie's score, it's already falling. Yeah, 28 vills. And almost has triple the number. In fact, more than triple actually. I was looking at CooL's number. Vertex has more than triple of Genie's villager count. I think that probably includes fishing ships as well, I would have thought. But yeah, like I said, Vertex and Bongo have just had a huge eco lead. ever since getting control of the waters. CooL was very slow to get those docks down. Genie tried to spam those docks all over, and like I said, CooL, first ship he put out was a fishing boat, which I feel like, I don't know if that would have made really much of a difference, but like the water battles do snowball quite heavily once someone gets an advantage. And Vertex, yeah, just a huge number of chariot archers now. CooL, obviously the Hittites. He does have the nobility in as well, but so does Vertex. CooL does have the high ground. I mean, CooL doing a decent job for the time being. And Genie actually getting some units in the field, but yeah, Bongo's just gone straight to the Iron Age. And Hoplites and building Phalangite upgrade is going to be coming in pretty sharpish as well, you've got to imagine. There it is, along with... oh, sorry, that's aristocracy. This one's Phalangite over here. Urbanization coming in for the early extra pots as well. He's a little bit short on food. Ooh, this is a trade that CooL doesn't want to make. And yeah, unfortunately, yeah, Vertex still just with a huge numbers advantage. And yeah, again, Assyrian chariot archers for Genie, but just doesn't have the numbers. Also, Assyrians miss nobility as well, which is just another of many reasons I don't like the Assyrians. Yeah, like it's just no way CooL and Genie ever cross the river, so they're just going to be on defense for the rest of the game. And now Phalangites are moving forward. Only bronze shield in. Iron shield. Okay, iron shield is coming in as I say that. Again, maybe a few people, villagers off wood onto food would be good just to keep this pump going. But yeah, iron shield in now. These Phalangites gonna probably wreck this route. Genie just resigned on the spot. I was going to say maybe CooL can do a decent amount of damage with the Hittite chariot archers, trying to fend off this first wave. But realistically speaking, the game was done as soon as Genie and CooL lost control of the water. Again, I mean, Vertex did spot the water earliest, and like I said, I think whoever spotted the water earliest was going to have quite a big advantage. Because obviously on Mega Random you don't know if there is going to be water or not. But again, it took CooL quite a while to put down any docks after Genie had spotted the water there. I feel like Genie did try his best to try and control the water there. I think there was a point where he had about 4 or 5 docks. CooL had, I think, 3 at the most. But yeah, Vertex just got a really good head start on the water, like I said, and then Bongo was just able to back that up. And like I said, at that point, they could pretty much do whatever they like. Vertex went for the little sneaky landing, get a few, even built a town centre in fact. As well as a little house he snuck in there. And the chariot archers. And obviously, like I said, CooL, Hittite and Assyrian chariot archers, theoretically better. But Vertex just had all the resources he needed to just keep spamming and spamming. And at the end of the day, that was that. So, 3-0 to Vertex and Bongo. And like I said, I feel like Genie had a fairly reasonable game 1. I think he did a good effort of trying to hold the water here in game 3, but again, it wasn't a bit too late. And game 2 was a bit of a disaster. Like I said, some questionable unit picks in game 1 from the Babylonians from CooL. And again, with just skipping the AXA against the Persians in game 2. I feel like, I don't know, it feels like, again, I don't want to say disrespect necessarily, but it feels like maybe a little bit sloppy from CooL there to not really consider that scouts might even be on the table. This game here, again, I think maybe just a little bit slow getting to the water in these maps here, especially when there's only a singular crossing. Just controlling the water is very, very strong. So, that is the series between Bongo and Bongo, Vertex, CooL and Genie. Like I said, 3-0 to Bongo and Vertex. That last game, unfortunately, a fairly one-sided affair there.